Apple Loop iPhone 8 prototype leaks, Apple's embarrassing color, solving surprising iPhone problem. Taking a look back at another week of news from Cupertino, this week's Apple Loop includes the leaked iPhone 8 prototype, Apple's new embarrassing color, how to handle the screen cutout, the new Apple Watch 3 design, a review of the new MacBook Air, Apple's TV ambitions, Google's costly Safari search option, and how to use your iPhone during the upcoming total eclipse. Apple Loop is here to remind you of a few of the very many discussions that have happened around Apple over the last 7 days, and you can read my weekly digest of Android news here on Forbes. iPhone 8 prototype confirms design leaks. You know what's better than finding out Apple has leaked many of the iPhone 8 details in the source code for HomePod? Getting those details confirmed by obtaining a non-functional prototype of the iPhone 8. Forbes' Gordon Kelly reports on Apple's new look. Unlike a number of dummy units which have surfaced in recent months, this is not a crude slab, but a highly detailed model constructed with premium materials in operational power, volume and mute buttons. So what do we learn from my prototype? In short, the leaked schematics were spot on. The iPhone 8 is indeed slightly larger than the iPhone 7, but noticeably smaller than the iPhone 7 Plus, and it feels great in hand. It is similar to the Galaxy S8 in look and feel, which is a good thing, and it should be relatively easy for most owners to use one-handed. More here on Forbes. Can gold be embarrassing? And then there's the color. Previously thought to have only monochrome options, it appears the presumptively named iPhone 8 is going to have another brand new color choice, blush. The color's name wasn't so meek. Revealed by Benjamin Jeskin, this tone is much darker when compared to the existing gold and rose gold tints. The darker tone may be a result of the move to a glass construction and the use of new materials, but it's more likely there to mask the intrusive island protruding the top of the new old screen. More on the darker shade of iPhone, and the awkward island on the screen, here. Apple's iPhone Island. Speaking of the island of sensors and the cutout in the screen to create this, why is it there and how will Apple minimize its visual disruption? I've been working with digital artist Oscar Luna Martinez to answer this tricky question about the iPhone 8 design. The starting point here is that Apple rarely makes major changes to its user interface. One quick glance at any current iOS device and you'll be able to see a bar of information along the top of the screen. Currently this shows the wallpaper or desktop color splash, but it would be a simple matter to reconfigure this to be a black strip on the screen. Taking up the
It's like BMW releasing its 3 Series cars and then Audi releasing cars also called 3 Series. And there I was thinking marketing was about differentiation. Some fancy that the newest, top of the line, possibly very expensive iPhone will be called iPhone Pro. Just as the iPad now has an iPad Pro. I'm anti that. The Pro part tries to convince you of that. The mere thought of a phone that's now primarily a business tool immediately takes some excitement away from what has always been a personal device. Business is not about excitement. I'm naive enough to be fond of excitement. Then again, perhaps that's precisely where Apple is aiming. Some smart money will therefore surely go on the first 2 phones being iPhone X and iPhone X Plus and the fanciest one iPhone X Pro. This is all, though, theoretical entertainment. You could even argue that it has to be the iPhone 8 series because the number 8 is lucky in China. But what if there aren't 3 phones? What if there are only 2? What if there are 4? What if the fanciest phone won't be available for 6 months? Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here.
Enough evidence from previous launches that Tim Cook has something else in mind. With all the talk of the iPhone 8 online, it's unlikely that even Apple's ivory tower view of the media would release 3 handsets with numbers lower than 8. Which means you have a basic model, a plus-sized phablet, and a highly specified and insanely expensive model. Apple already has a pattern for this. So let's reconfigure the lineup around the hip new labels and fit in with the numbering scheme to offer us the iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus, and iPhone 8 Pro. Except Tim Cook apparently has arithmophobia, so let's drop the 8 bomb and regenerate the lineup in the 10th anniversary of the first Apple smartphone. iPhone. iPhone Plus. iPhone Pro. Some justification on the new naming conventions here. Can Apple really live without Touch ID? Touch ID, the biometric fingerprint scanner on the iPhone range devices, looks set to be missing from the iPhone 8. Thanks to the removal of the home button, Touch ID would have needed a new home in any case. Options such as embedding it in the power button or using the Apple logo on the rear chassis have been mentioned, but these are being ignored. Tim Cook is going to gamble on losing Touch ID altogether and rely on facial recognition. As leaked in its own software, Apple will instead move all iPhone 8 security to Face ID, a new facial recognition that will hopefully work better than Samsung's erratic implementation in the Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S8 Plus, which struggles in bright sunlight, low light, and when wearing glasses/sunglasses. But Samsung played it safer than Apple, because both the Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S8 Plus still retain their fingerprint sensors as a fallback. They're idiotically positioned, but they were still my default method of unlock within a week of using each phone. More here on Forbes. Improving your portrait. Lurking inside the latest iOS 11 beta release is new code for Apple's portrait mode. This is the dual-camera powered bokeh effect, where the subject is in sharp focus, while the background goes out of focus. Apple has refreshed the settings, but also stores data of the original image capture so you can remove the effect for a clean portrait at a later time. Mike Weatherly has more. Portrait mode not only has exited its beta status, but has seen some improvements as well. The procedure to take the shot is unmodified, but the edit feature now allows for the effect to be removed at will, and non-destructively. The effect still can't be applied retroactively if the image wasn't taken in portrait mode to begin with. All the details are at Apple Insider. Calling Dick Tracy, Apple style. For a companion device, a lot of people want the Apple Watch to operate independently from the host iPhone or iPad. Apple more than likely has the technology to do so inside Cupertino's labs, but is it ready for the public? Bloomberg's Mark Gurman believes so. Currently, Apple requires its smartwatch to be connected wirelessly to an iPhone to stream music, download directions and maps, and send messages while on the go. Equipped with LTE chips, at least some new Apple Watch models, planned for release by the end of the year, will be able to conduct many tasks without an iPhone in range, the people said. For example, a user would be able to download new songs and use apps, and leave their smartphone at home. More on the unconnected Apple Watch potential here. Go large, an option for new MacBook Pro. As it stands, the MacBook Pro machines top out at 2 TB of storage, provided by a pair of 1 TB VNAND package. Now that the South Korean company has been able to increase the size of these chips, Apple will have the option to ship a Mac machine with a whopping 4 TB of storage in the near future. Samsung announced a 1 TB VNAND chip that it expects to be available next year. Initially mentioned in 2013, during unveiling of the industry's first third NAND, Samsung has been working to enable its core memory technologies to realize 1 TB of capacity on a single chip using a VNAND structure. The arrival of a 1 TB VNAND chip next year will enable 2 TB of memory in a single VNAND package. More at Samsung, and a tip of the hat to Ben Lovejoy. And finally, following the lukewarm reception to Planet of the Apps, Apple's second original series has debuted and the reaction has not improved by much. Carpool Karaoke takes the short format sketch from The Late Late Show, puts it over to Apple's distribution system, and increases the runtime. Has it worked? Rebecca Nicholson reviews the show. Apple has supersized his formula but, in doing so, has managed to misunderstand entirely what it is that made it charming. Judging by the first episode and what's teased later in the series, this is less about getting a revealing interview out of someone who may otherwise seem distant, and more about bowing down to the power of celebrity. Will Smith, who stars in the first episode, isn't there to have a conversation with Courtney. He's there to perform. The full review is at The Guardian. Apple Loop brings you 7 days worth of highlights every weekend here on Forbes. Don't forget to follow me so you don't miss any coverage in the future. Last week's Apple Loop can be read here, or this week's edition of Loop's sister column.